Hey everyone, today is August 3rd, 2023. It is a Wednesday, and this is episode 14 of the 9 Frames podcast. I'm one half of your host, Bill Whalen.
And I'm Mike Whalen.
Be sure to catch us on YouTube, folks. We're on there at 9 Frames Podcast. We're on Spotify at 9 Frames. Catch us on X at 9 Frames Pod and playergm.com. We could really use follows and subscribes on our YouTube and X.
Everything is appreciated as usual.
Most definitely. Let's get into what was a nice little 2 days of baseball. A lot of the time, the Monday to Wednesday frame isn't that interesting. It really was this time.
Yeah, rarely.
Honestly, respect to the schedule because it's been really well booked by accident, basically.
It's been like that for like 3 weeks now.
Yep. Let's kick it off with our Seattle Mariners, baby. They've won 8 in a row. We talked about them on Monday, and I said, looking at this series against the White Sox, they might just rattle off 9 easy.
They're at 8.
It's looking like it. They have handled the White Sox in the first 2 games of this 3-game set. They got 14-2 and then 6-3, and they go for 9 at 2:10. It's Kirby versus Kopech today.
Oh, that's not a good matchup for the White Sox.
No, and I actually would really like to watch it too because I've been just trying to watch as much Mariners stuff as I can because they're so West Coast.
Yeah,
But man, they're a fun team.
That's one end of the spectrum, and then you look at the other end with the White Sox and what's been going on. They're in a really bad state, man.
Yeah, real quick, first though, before we talk about the White Sox and how embarrassing that is, I just wanted to touch on this. We're definitely going to talk about it more. Seattle is 1 game out of the AL West lead.
I've been saying it. They're not
So
dead.
we'll keep an eye because we're going to talk about Texas and Houston in this episode, folks. But yeah, let's move on to the White Sox because this is a sad state of affairs.
Yeah, they I think it was yesterday. They
It
fire
was about 15 hours ago.
They fire President Ken Williams
And
and
Vice President Ken Williams.
and GM Rick Hahn.
Yeah, really sad to see. I mean, here's the thing.
Cleaning house.
They have been doing this like every couple of years now for a little while because the team just can't...
Williams and Hahn have been there for a while.
Right, yeah, they keep getting rid of managers and hitting coaches,
Yeah.
and like it's just so much change there. It's so much inconsistency for the players.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think that's going to solve their issue. If you saw the clip of the reporters asking Eloy Jimenez if the White Sox even discussed leadership at all, and he said, not really.
That's it. Yep.
Not really.
Didn't really give anything else. Just kind of said there wasn't much talk of leadership. And when you saw Kenyon Middleton, when he got traded earlier this year, said literally the same thing.
Yeah, there's just nothing there. Like, nobody cares.
Yeah, and you got the Tim Anderson fiasco going on. Man, it's an ugly year for the White Sox.
I saw the post game with their reporters for, like, you know how SNY does it with the guys at the booth. Yeah,
Right, yeah.
So they did it, and they were upset.
Yeah, and I just want to say, man, it's sad to say, but if there was one team I could pick to not be a fan of right now, I think it would be the White Sox because, I mean, a lot of these teams you could see they're not trying. Like, they try to put on the facade that they're trying, and they are just not, man. They are 49-77 this year.
Yeah, it's been a really bad year for them.
The ugliest year they've had in a long time.
I thought they would be in the mix for a division title, and it just has gone so south, man.
it really
Pedro
is.
Grifol has no control of that team.
Nope, not really anything good happening there.
Pretty brutal stuff.
Yeah, we're going to move on to some more pretty sad news because the Yankees lose 9 in a row.
Yeah, I mean, what could be more brutal than what's going on with the White Sox is maybe the Yankees because of who they are.
Probably the only thing that is more brutal. Yeah, they lost 9 in a row for their first time since 82. 1982.
That's unbelievable, man.
Look up the top charts of music that year and blow your mind about how that's the last time the Yankees have lost 9 games in a row.
It's been so long.
Now they sit 10.5 games out of the AL wild card. They're a half game behind the Angels.
I think we can officially call it wraps on the Yankees
They're
season.
pretty much dead, man. That's a really bad look.
Yeah, they're not coming back from that.
Yeah, you look at the roster and, I mean, the young core was really stunted by big contracts.
They're a negative differential now at this point, too. They're just straight up not a good team.
Minus 28 in runs. It's an ugly year.
17 out of the division, 10.5. Like, you never see the Yankees in last place.
I mean, they lost 9 in a row, and, I mean, we didn't talk about it much because we thought it was kind of a nothing series, but no, Washington's just beating them.
Yeah, right now.
The Washington Nationals are beating them in Yankee Stadium.
I mean, the Nationals they're not even that far away from them standings-wise. They're only 2 wins less than them.
It's really sad to see, man.
It's pretty crazy.
I'm not even going to lie, like, as a Mets fan, it doesn't even, like, it almost doesn't feel good. Like, I don't know.
It feels pretty good.
It just feels, like, wrong.
No, not to me.
No? They're just, like, I don't know. They're just so out of it.
Everybody experiences losing except for them. Yeah. It's time. They can handle it a little bit.
It's just weird to see a baseball season where the Dodgers and the Yankees aren't both prominent figures, at least. I don't know.
One of them's doing their job and the others aren't.
Yeah, most definitely. Move on to some bright news. I wanted to put some highlights at the end of the intro here. I really love this. The art of the strikeout is at an all-time high commodity, and these are the top starters in each league in K per 9, man. Spencer Strider is at a 14.0.
That's absurd.
14 strikeouts per 9.
That's like all-time levels of good for a starting pitcher.
It's legitimately video game numbers.
Yeah.
Tyler Glasnow's at a 12.3, and he's looking stunted next to Strider. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's down by still at 1.7. That's crazy.
To be down 1.7 strikeouts and have like an all-time K per 9, I absolutely love it, man.
I mean, 12.3 over a regular season that's elite.
Yeah, and
For
I
a
want
starter?
Oh, absolutely. It's like the best you could have in the league. It's
That's reliever
gonna be a top in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're a starter, that's the tops in the league for sure, and it is the tops in the AL. I just wanted to mention because I saw this on a graphic last week. I don't know if you did. The Strider slider is the most unhittable pitch in baseball this year, and the one behind it is Kodai Senga's ghost forkball.
I mean, Senga's been awesome.
Yeah,
that pitch is actually devastating.
We've watched plenty of both of these pitchers this year, and dude, I would absolutely believe that graphic that's the most unhittable, the two most unhittable pitches in this league. Guys look stupid up there.
It's so crazy that Spencer Strider is like kind of mid. Like
I don't
ERA.
want to say it. Yeah,
he
this
is.
year.
I mean, strikeouts aren't everything.
This
though.
year,
Strikeouts
though.
don't equal good.
This year, though,
No, that's what he is. He's like a 3.5 ERA pitcher. Now it's just a little more. He strikes out a bunch of people, but he still gives up runs.
yeah, no, it's kind of
Probably because he throws 99-mile-per-hour fastballs right down the middle.
it's kind of a worrying thing with a guy like him because when you get older and the arm starts to go on you, you can't really pump that past people anymore.
Yeah, once he loses velo, he's gonna. I mean, we were talking about that slider is so nasty, so maybe he'll have a little bit more longevity.
I mean,
but-
don't be surprised if you see this guy be one of those guys that recreates himself later and becomes like the slider's his first pitch, and then he throws the fastball to complement it.
Yeah, maybe.
Could work it out. Who knows? The Braves got a success lab over there. We got one more thing to talk about, and this was so crazy to see, man. Ellie De La Cruz goes first to home in 9.79 seconds.
That actually doesn't even seem realistic.
No, like you might blink and miss this guy running to home from first base.
I mean, if you got up to go to like the bathroom, he scored.
Oh yeah,
by
absolutely.
the time you got to
You're
the
coming,
bathroom.
but you might be coming back because the announcers are loud. He's already scored. So
Yeah.
that was the winning run last night.
That's
They
a-
won 4-3. It was tied 3-3 when he absolutely busted his ass to get home from first base, man.
That's good. That's what you want to see as a Reds fan because they set a half game out, so the players playing hard is exactly what you want to see.
And the first game of that 3-game set got postponed on Monday because of Hurricane Hillary, so they're going to play a doubleheader on Wednesday and finish off that set, folks. We're going to keep an eye on that one because Cincinnati really needs those games.
Absolutely, being a half game out.
Yeah, let's get into the meat and potatoes. And this was a huge series coming into the beginning of the week. We didn't really set it up as much as we should have, honestly, because this was big.
Because it was because of the weekend. There was so much going on.
And I think for a while, for some reason, I don't know, a lot of people, including us too, have been saying that these two are kind of a lock for the playoffs.
I don't think so anymore.
Maybe not, man. San Francisco visits Philly for a series of what was the top two NL wildcard teams before the series started. We're going to get into what that means. I wanted to touch on this quick. The Blue Jays dropped Paul DeJong real quick.
Yeah, after 18 days,
and
like we said.
before this series, or maybe after the first game of the series, the Giants signed him to a major league deal.
Yeah, I think that's just for the end of the year.
Yeah, so
Probably.
is it just for the end of the
I'm
year, or
pretty
is it for 1 year after?
No, I think it's just for the remainder of the season.
Okay,
It's
so
just
they,
a major league deal.
They think his bat can help them make a run here at the wild card,
and then maybe they'll bring him back next year.
maybe it could too. Yeah, first game was really exciting highlights wise, but the score wasn't so enticing. It was a 10-4 win for Philadelphia. It was a Scott Alexander opener for San Francisco. You're doing an opener in the first game against
I just don't understand why that's becoming a thing with the openers. Like,
Yeah.
I know it works for some teams.
You
but,
want to
like,
know why? You can legitimately blame the Tampa Bay Rays for that.
Well, yeah, I know, but like, it just doesn't make sense for every other team to be
No.
doing it when they can't.
The
Like,
Tampa Bay Rays have been successful for like half a decade doing openers while everybody else kind of fumbles at it and everybody else is trying to replicate them. They can't do it.
Scott Alexander's not a starter.
No, he goes 2/3 of an inning. He gives up 3 hits. I believe one of them was a home. No, it wasn't a homer. It was 1 earned run there. He kind of get knocked around. He gets yanked.
Yeah, I
real
mean, he's
quick.
a reliever. That's a bad inning for a reliever.
And on the other side, because this is a team that I think is a legitimate playoff threat, they send Aaron Nola out there, and he goes 7 innings, 2 earned runs. They were both solo homers. So, I mean, the guy had a phenomenal day on the mound.
Jock and Wade Jr.
Yeah, solo homer by Jock Peterson in the first, and Lamont Wade Jr. in the third. So they were early runs, too, and he settled down. But the real highlight of the game, you want to touch on this?
Yeah, Bryce Harper with the inside the park home run.
Let's talk about it, man. You see that bounce, though?
It's that big-ass wall in Philadelphia.
That weird jut, man.
I was going to say, though, I don't think the guy in right field, whoever was playing for the Giants, backed that up correctly.
Not a good, I think it might have even been Lamont Wade Jr.
He was not trying to get that ball at all.
It was not a good backup, no.
The center fielder had to recover and run all the way over.
I wanted your opinion because I saw some people starting a discourse on Twitter about it, or X, I guess, now. Would you ever call that play an error? No. People were trying to say it's a triple with an error on the center field.
No, it can't be. What is he supposed to do? It hit
That's
the
what
wall
I'm saying.
and bounced away from it.
I thought that was a silly take as well.
Some people just love to say just dumb stuff.
Maybe
all
some
the
people
time.
just don't know what an error quite is.
There's no way it can be an error if it's a ball that's hit that hard and that far, and it hits the wall and shoots away from him. What is he supposed to do?
Kind of funny, yeah. But Bryce gets his inside the park Little League World Series home run. They just played there.
Yeah, they did.
We'll touch on Game 2 now because this one was absolutely phenomenal. The new kid, Kyle Harrison. You saw that they pulled him up, the lefty. He makes his debut. He goes 3 1/3, 5 hits, 2 earned. That goes on a Harper home run, a 2-run homer for the kid.
Got his fingerprints all over the series.
He does. That's his 11th of the year, I saw. And Philadelphia has Walker go 5 pretty strong innings. He gives up 6 hits and 2 walks, 3 runs, but only 2 are earned, and he gets 7 Ks.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you'd expect.
Yeah, this was a great 9th inning to watch as a fan. I think you were locked in with me, right?
I was in and out of it.
But I was pretty locked in on this one, man. Philadelphia ended up with 2nd and 3rd with 1 out, and Camilo Duvall decides to intentionally walk Kyle Schwarber to load the sacks for guess who, man? The new kid that the city's really loving, man.
Yeah, they bring him back.
They keep giving standing ovations for him, and he really loves it. Trey Turner comes up, and he comes through with an early AB single. It was so early, it almost caught me off guard. First or second pitch of the at-bat, and he wins it. The place exploded.
Those fans have really put a second wind into him after he started off real slow.
It was one of those fun games, too, where the announcers were calling the game from right field. So they were standing up with the crowd and screaming with it.
Involved with
it was
the crowd
awesome to see.
The thing about series like this is the Giants just bore me, man.
Yeah.
They just always have. They're just a boring ball club.
I mean, this year, that's fair to say for sure. They've had some personality in the last years. This is what's wild, though. Like I said earlier, coming into this series before these first games that go to Philadelphia takes the first 2 here. San Francisco was firmly in the 2nd spot.
Not anymore.
Currently, they are half a game out of the 3rd wildcard spot. They were in the 2nd spot before the series.
Well, that has a lot to do with a series that we'll talk about in a bit, and the Diamondbacks, what they've been doing recently.
Yeah, there's been definitely some big series this week that we're going to touch on for sure.
We've been talking about how the Diamondbacks are running out of time and they need to turn it around. Well, they really have.
Yeah, and I wanted to touch on what Game 3 is of this series because, dude, it's getting pretty perilous for those San Francisco Giants, man.
I mean, look who's starting.
That's what, but I'm saying, this is a good guy.
No,
don't do that.
No, he's
don't
not.
do that.
Alex
All
Cobb
right.
is not good.
I'll set up the matchup here. We got Alex Cobb, who I think is good.
He's not good.
Come on.
He's not a good. He's not. He's a career 4 ERA pitcher.
This year he's a 3.75 guy.
Exactly. He's
in over
4.
100 innings, 120 innings over that one.
He ain't somebody.
He's a high whip guy, but he's facing up with Michael Lorenzen, who was such a sleeper pickup at the deadline.
In my opinion, a much better pitcher.
Yeah, so don't be surprised if the Phillies sweep here. I'm not going to lie to you, man. Here's the thing. The Phillies have a better lineup, and today they have a better pitcher on the mound, in my opinion. I'm not going to say Cobby's bad, but...
He is.
Right.
But, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. So, I mean, let's predict that 3rd game. I think we just both did.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I think the Phillies are going to
Here's the thing. My prediction of that game is I think it's going to be a low-scoring one because I do think they're going to both do well.
Okay, we'll revisit when Cobb gets bombed.
If we come back here on Friday and Cobb got bombed, that'd be pretty funny. Yeah, we'll talk about it. But I think either way, Philadelphia takes this game, and I think San Francisco kind of leaves with their tail between their legs.
Yeah, I mean, they're just free-falling at this point.
And Philadelphia is feeling phenomenal.
Miami is a half game from jumping them now, too. They're just dropping.
Yeah, and we're going to touch on Miami because they've been playing really back-and-forth ball with the Padres in the first 2.
Yeah, so, I mean... I think the Phillies are definitely a better team. I think they're going to go further, and I think they have more experience as a team.
I think basically since the existence of this podcast, we've been saying in this NL wildcard race, the most surefire playoff team is Philadelphia.
Yeah, well,
especially because of what they did last year.
I was going to say exactly just because of last year going to the World Series. I mean, they know what it takes to get there. And,
it's just proven.
Yeah. So I think honestly they would, if they weren't in the NL East, they would have a good chance to win a lot of the other divisions.
Yeah. Oh, most definitely. And what I'm going to say is I do predict that Philadelphia takes this third game, but man, San Francisco needs it.
Yeah, they desperately need it. But I mean, I'll ease up a little bit on Cobb. I don't know if he's going to get bombed, but I don't think he's. I mean, the Phillies are hot; they're not, and it's just I don't know.
Yeah,
it's in Philly. It's not a good matchup for him.
We'll keep an eye on the game. That's a 4:05 today. I think it's very interesting, though.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting game.
Another big series in the NL. This one was also East versus West. NL East versus NL West. Miami visits San Diego and Petco, and what we said on Monday's episode was a pretty do or die series for the Pods.
I don't. I mean, I'm just looking at these teams. I just don't think either of them are going to end up in the playoffs. I really don't think San Diego will, and I still don't think Miami has.
You're still not in on Miami. All right.
I mean, they're just struggling to stay at 500. They're just they don't have enough. Their pitching just isn't enough for a playoff run.
We'll have to see, but San Diego was trying to make up ground here in the NL wild card, and Miami's really been in the cooking race right now. First game goes to San Diego 6-2. That was a Ryan Weathers start for Miami
against his former team.
Super interesting. He gets knocked around a bit. 3 1/3 innings pitched. He gives up 5 hits, 5 walks, and 5 earned.
See, now they. I bet the Padres feel better about getting rid of him.
Most definitely, and that's something that'll really inflate your whip for sure. That includes a second inning grand slam by Ha-Seong Kim, which was obviously electric.
My guy.
Yeah, for sure. San Diego has all 6 runs before Miami's even on the board in that one.
Yeah, see, so you can't fall behind 6 runs and just expect to climb up
to the team everybody's saying isn't going to make it.
Yeah.
So Michael Wacha, though, we have to give him credit again, bro. He went 5 1/3, 5 hits, 2 walks, 7 Ks, and 1 earned.
I just really don't know where this came from.
I don't know either. It's such a resurgence, and San Diego's not known for that.
He was good on the Cardinals when he first came up, and then it just went south because of injuries. And I remember when he pitched for the Mets a couple years ago, he was like
really bad,
unwatchable pitchers I've ever seen.
I mean, it's like he lost himself and found himself.
And now he's just actually having a fantastic year.
Yeah, he's pitching to a 2.63 ERA, and he's 10-2 on the year. So the team's coming through for him, and he's coming through for them.
Yeah, you definitely have to tip your cap.
That was a huge momentum game for San Diego. How do they respond, though, man? It was a nice nightcap game because I like watching pitching duels. They're fun. It was between Snell and Luzardo. Luzardo really stepped up in this one. What'd he do?
He goes 6 innings. 2 hits, 1 walk, 7 Ks.
Doesn't give up a run, man.
He was great. And I mean, Snell wasn't even bad on the other side. He gets an L, but he only gives up 3 runs.
Yeah, that's a quality start, man. 6 innings pitched again for what's been 2 really solid lefties in the NL.
I think, I mean, there's another guy we'll be talking about later on the D-backs, but this is the other guy, Snell, who is probably the front runner for Cy Young.
Yeah, I think my vote would go to him currently.
I would disagree with that, but we'll get into it a little bit later.
All right, fair enough.
I'll talk about my pick a little bit later.
Both of the Pens looked phenomenal in this game because both guys went 6 innings, but the Pens didn't give up a run on either side. The Fish were propelled by Soler's 33rd homer of the year, dude. We can't bring up the Marlins without talking about Jorge Soler having a homer.
They wouldn't be in the position they were in right now if it wasn't for Jorge Soler.
Pretty crazy.
Like, if you think about it.
Yeah, no, they really wouldn't.
They're a game out of the wild card. You take out 33 home runs in your lineup.
So
that's bad.
I'm really starting to lean that he opts out and tries to find his money elsewhere.
He really, really should. He's worth more than $9 million.
Jake Berger, the new acquisition, keeps coming through, man. He's hitting like damn near 400 for the team.
I've never seen somebody put on a Marlins uniform and go off as much as Jake Berger.
Maybe Josh Bell.
Yeah,
that's about it, man.
It's pretty
this
crazy.
is the year for them and having acquisitions, man. They get an Avisail Garcia sack grounder. That's the 3rd run. And they get a Robertson stave in that one. I wanted to mention, too, Berger got absolutely gunned at home by Tatis.
I saw that, yeah.
Dude, he was dead like 3 steps.
If there's one thing Fernando has, it's a strong arm. That's why they had the confidence in putting him out there.
Using that shortstop arm. But, yeah, it's been really big to watch this series. Really back-and-forth baseball. That's what's tough about San Diego. It feels like they almost play playoff ball when they play playoff teams. then
they just lose too much.
They just kind of shit the bed, man.
Yeah, they just lose too much, just straight up. Like, they're just actually a bad away team. They're 26-34 on the road.
Currently sitting in the standings, Miami is a game back of Arizona for the last wild card spot.
Yep.
And San Diego is 6 games back of them. We're going to talk about Arizona very shortly.
Yeah, that's the second and fourth place teams in the West.
Yeah, 6 games back for San Diego doesn't feel good right now.
No, I mean, and being 4-6 in the last 10, you just keep dropping games. I mean, last night they don't even score.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to explain San Diego baseball this year. It's just kind of like skiddy. They just keep skidding.
Yeah, they're just inconsistent.
Every time they get going, they skid off.
It's the same thing with the Mets and the Yankees. Like, they hung around for a little bit, but now they're just the Mets went
It's
on
actually
a putrid run.
It's like quite literally the same thing with the Mets, though. I think they're only games separated.
They're just underperforming and they're inconsistent this year. I don't really understand it.
Game 3, though, if you're going to give San Diego credit for one thing, they are a fun team to watch, and this should be
always.
This will be a fun game to watch. This is Sandy Alcantara, the ace of the Fish, going up against Seth Lugo, who's old Met. Sandy's a 6-10 with a 4.11 this year, but man, he's been eating innings, huh?
Yeah, he always does. He's another guy like Framber Valdez. He's always going to be at the top of the innings pitch stat category because he just shoves. Even if he's struggling, he gets the innings.
Yeah, Lugo's 4-6 on the year. He's got a 3.92 and like 65 less innings.
You'd expect that. Actually, 65 less innings is impressive. Because I didn't think Lugo was going to be a full-time starter.
I think it's 103 to 164. It might be 61 innings, something like that.
Seth being over 100 innings pitched already is pretty nuts to think about.
Yeah, this should be a fun game. What's your predictions on that one, real quick?
I think Sandy needs to shove. I mean, they're the ones that are playing for the wild card more so than the Padres. They got one game to make up. I mean, they need their ace to be the ace.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Again, he's the reigning Cy Young Award winner in the National League. Step up, buddy.
I got such a weird feeling about this game, though. We're going to be talking about how both pitchers went 5 innings, but Lugo was slightly better and they got the win.
I could fully see it with the way that Sandy's been going this year.
It's pretty wild.
He's another inconsistent guy this year. I don't really understand why it's happening to him. I don't think his stuff is much different.
It can't be, right?
I
don't understand. Maybe the league has more film on him? I don't know. Both of these teams have Thursday off, and then we got a 3-game set on the weekend. Washington visits Miami, and San Diego visits Milwaukee.
Yeah, see, that's nice for Miami.
Yeah, Miami needs to capitalize. Washington's playing good ball against, admittingly, the Yankees, though.
The Nationals are 8-2 in their last 10, so we could toot their horn a little bit. They've been going.
No, they're playing good ball for sure, and they're a more competitive team than people thought they would be this year, by far.
They're only a half game away from not being in last anymore. So.
In terms of that San Diego-Milwaukee series, we're going to set that up on Friday, but that should be a fun watch because that might be the do or die for San Diego.
Yeah, but we can't keep saying it and pushing it back, dude. I think they're just dead. They're not going to come. I don't think they're going to come all the way back. It doesn't seem like they have a run in them.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Because they'll win 2 games and then they'll just shit out.
Very true.
So
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it will be a very big series though.
We'll keep an eye on both of those series. More so the San Diego-Milwaukee one. I'm pretty sure Miami will handle business, but if they don't, we'll definitely be talking about it.
Yeah, it'll be a topic of discussion.
Let's move on to what is a very interesting Arizona team.
Speaking of those Arizona Diamondbacks, they host the first place Texas Rangers. Who knows for how long at this at this rate for a quick 2-game set.
Not really how I saw this one going.
No, Game 1 was absolutely wild in the late innings of it. There wasn't much scoring until, there actually wasn't any scoring until the 7th inning. And that was the Rangers getting on the board first, actually, with a Adolis Garcia home run, solo shot, his 31st of the year.
The big man.
To put Texas up 1-0 in the 7th. Fast forward to the bottom of the 9th. Aroldis Chapman's on. He's trying to save the game out for the Rangers. Ketel Marte, boom! 20th homer of the year, ties the game just like that in a blink of an eye. It's 1-1.
I think I saw Chapman's blown more than half his saves.
And he still has a 2.28 ERA.
My thing is that's a misleading stat for sure. It's because he's blowing most of those saves in the 8th.
Yeah.
He's not a closer anymore, so... I mean, it's still wild that he's got such a phenomenal year with that many blown games.
This one was a blown save, unfortunately.
Yep.
In the 9th. On to extras. Fast forward straight to the top of the 11th because no one scored in the 10th. Nate Lowe doubles in a pair to go up 3-1.
Real good piece of hitting there.
Bottom of the 11th inning, though. Perdomo doubles to make it 3-2. And the one that we were just talking about last episode with his getting into it with the fan, Tommy Pham, walks it off with a double of his own to help Arizona win the game 4-3 in 11 innings.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a scandal went on for Tommy last week, the whole argument bit. But the guy steps up again, man. Like I said, he's been good for them since the deadline. So, I mean, put your money where your mouth is. I suppose he is.
Chapman did end up pitching the 10th. He was the one that went scoreless for them. And then Will Smith came in and blew his 4th save, and he's 1-5 on the year, giving up the 2 runs. He's at a 4.17, so he hasn't really had that great of a year. But
tough to see from Texas right now because they're trying to hold down a spot, and they really need as many games as they could get.
Yeah, it might not just be the divisional spot at this point.
No, this is a team.
It's a spot.
This is a team that's been really kind of skidding since the deadline, which is weird because they were a good team that had a solid deadline.
They were so good in the first half.
They made their team like slightly better, I would say, and they were already so good, and now they're just kind of playing badly.
We were talking about it before with the openers. To D-backs go with an opener that game.
Yeah.
That goes 11.
Man.
And they give up only 3 runs.
Yeah, their first guy only goes 2/3 of an inning, and they end up not even getting hit around at all. Pretty wild.
they were great. Ginkel is now 7-0 on the year with a 2.26. Like, that's a gem right there.
Yeah, so Arizona ends up doing what a lot of teams can and having a very successful opener, Tampa Bay Rays style.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't work often, but when it does, I mean, dude, 11 innings and only 3 runs from your entire bullpen is just insane to me.
Pretty wild, and it saves, I mean, whatever arms you were trying to save, but...
On the unfortunate side of things, Jordan Montgomery was the starter for the Rangers, who absolutely shoved and gets robbed of a W as he goes 8 innings, giving up only 4 hits, no runs, 1 walk, and 6 Ks.
Yeah, that's kind of quite literally the toughest no decision you could ever get.
Yeah, because you just needed your guys to get 3 outs.
Could have even had a complete game shutout if they would have just done that.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Jordan Montgomery for having another great start, but they did not close it off.
No, not at all. Moving into game 2, though. Here we go. I think this is your guy.
This is my guy.
Yeah, we're talking about the Zach Gallen show. He's 14-5 on the year, and he continues to make a push for that NL Cy Young. I think it is him or Snell right now, probably.
I just got it. I think he's my favorite, man. He's just nasty. He goes 6 innings, 7 hits, 1 earned, 1 walk, 11 Ks. The only run he gives up is a home run.
No, I mean, this is a pretty perfect day for a starting pitcher right now. I mean, this is what you want from your ace because, I mean, it's tough to get innings these days. So if you can get 6 innings and 1 or 2 earned runs, phenomenal start, and he killed it.
Yeah, so I'll break down how it went a little bit. He's down. I don't know if you just mentioned it. He's down to a 3.11 on the year.
No, I didn't say it, but that is real good work.
He lowers his ERA down to a 3.11, which is 3rd in the National League.
Mm-hmm. Credit to him.
The D-backs, they take a 3-0 lead early with small ball in the first. And a costly error by John Gray. I don't know what he was trying to do with that glove flip.
Really ugly play.
It got up to 5-0 before the Rangers would eventually break through. That was from RBIs from Tommy Pham, who's been very good for them, actually.
Yeah.
And Lourdes Gurriel Jr.
And so Pham's fingerprints on another game. He was all over the San Diego series, too.
Yeah, like I said, the one run that Gallen gave up, it was a solo shot, and it was to Mitch Garver.
Right.
Who hits his 10th in the top of the 6th.
Yeah, one of the catchers who's been known for pop for quite a while now.
But the Rangers really just could never get back into it. It was another case of them just trying to play catch up and just simply not being able to overcome the difference.
Yeah, kind of been doing a lot of that since that deadline. Like I said, man, it's pretty ugly. They end up losing 6-3, and Sewell gets his 27th save on the year.
Been a really good acquisition for them, man. He's sitting around a 3 ERA. He's got almost 30 saves. You know, you'll take a guy like that.
I thought he'd be solid. I definitely did.
John Gray falls to 8-7 with a 3.69. Really not a bad year for Johnny.
I didn't think it would be. Kind of weird for you to say that's not a bad year after dumping on the 3.75.
I mean, well, because he used to pitch in Colorado and his ERA was ballooned.
Yeah. No, John Gray was one of those guys that got unfairly marked as a ERA guy because
it's kind of odd to see John Gray in the 3.6s, 3.7s.
Fair enough. I think that's what this guy's always been. Unfortunately, he just didn't get the chance to show it.
Got bit by Colorado. What's going on in Texas, man?
It's been, like, really ugly play lately. I mean, they got a half-game lead over Houston now. They've really been skidding, like we said.
It's evaporated.
And they're 1 game over the Mariners in the AL West, bro.
It's the lead's gone, and it's not only a 2-team race now. It's become a 3-team race.
Definitely a 3-team race, bro. This is my pill to swallow. For such a long time, I was saying that I don't think Seattle has a chance to surpass these two teams.
They've
but
proven you wrong.
Dude, yes. Yes, they have. This team is just playing so hard, dude.
Their run differential is only 2 worse than the Astros.
Their effort is quite literally unmatched in the whole league.
Yeah, I mean, they're the hottest team in baseball right now. They're on an 8-game win streak. You know, they're 8-2 in the last 10, and they've really just put themselves right back in the mix.
Mm-hmm. Pretty decent chance to go for 9 today, like we said, with a game against the White Sox at 2:10.
They could be a half game out of first today, which would be insane.
And like we said earlier during that Giants recap, the D-backs jump them and the Reds for the final wild card spot. They're 8-2 in their last 10. Literally the opposite of fortunes.
Yeah, I mean, real quick before we move on to the American League Series that we're going to touch on, I just want to say the Diamondbacks, I was critical and I said they need to turn it around and they need to do it quickly. They did.
I think everybody was saying that because they were playing real bad ball for a while there. But, yep, they're on a 4-game heater to basically be the opposite to Texas' 6-game loss.
We're in for a really interesting month of baseball, man.
It's been so good to see how close that NL wildcard race is.
There's some the AL East is still up for grabs. The West is certainly up for grabs now. I mean, the NL Central is not out of reach for
Not
the Cubbies.
At all, nobody.
We still got 3 or 4 divisions if you count the Central, but I don't really think so. The AL Central, I don't really
Either
think
way,
so.
both wild card races are electric too.
And then the wild card races. I mean, the baseball's it's competitive right now.
Yeah.
And it's not the stereotypical teams you'd expect. Like Baltimore's in there. Texas has been kind of rough recently. Seattle's just coming back on the up and up. Philly, Miami. I mean, it's just so interesting.
Texas has a series against Minnesota in Minnesota coming up. What about the Snakes, though?
The D-backs are going to be headed to. They're staying at home actually, and they'll be welcoming the Cincinnati Reds.
Dude, that's a massive series. What are those games? They're a half game apart, right?
Yep, they got a half game lead on the Reds as of right now.
Yeah. So this is going to be a huge day off here.
That actually might be the biggest series of the weekend.
I think it will be.
Playoff positioning.
It looks like it might be a 4-game. I don't want to say that yet because they play August 24th, which is Thursday. They start the series.
Yeah, if they start Thursday, it's most likely a 4-game.
And they're a half game apart, so
it is a 4-game.
Oh boy, dude. Yeah, no, that's going to be our series to watch of the weekend, and we'll set that up.
And
on
then
Friday.
the Snakes have to play the Dodgers afterward.
That is
then
tough
the
scheduling.
Orioles.
Oh, that's really tough
Damn,
scheduling.
I guess we're gonna see if what they're made of.
Yep, they're going to have to really prove their mettle here, not bend, not break.
I just wanted to say shout out to the D-backs real quick.
Very big shout out.
Moving on over to the American League and touching on the one series that we really wanted to focus on, because I think we brought it up on Monday that it was going to be a big one, especially because it's a 4-gamer.
It's a big prove-yourself series for the Red Sox here who have been playing hot baseball.
Yeah, they visit Houston for a big 4-gamer, like I just said. So far through the first 2, though, it really is it's looked one-sided.
Pretty one-sided, yeah.
The Astros in Game 1, they take it 9-4 after the Red Sox are the ones that started the game hot. I don't know if you saw the clip of it. Kevin Millar, he was saying, Duvall's going to hit a home run right now, or we need a home run from Duvall, and then on the legitimate next pitch, Duvall crushes a 3-run home run to put the Red Sox up 3-0.
Yeah, there was legitimately like a second of dead air before the home run happened after he stopped talking.
It was right when he said it.
Kevin Millar finished talking, and he screamed. He was screaming, wow.
How could you not?
Absolutely explosive stuff, yeah.
Unfortunately for the Red Sox, the potent Astros offense roars back to go up 4-3 in the second inning. Just 2 innings later, the script is
Team like that
flipped.
is never going to look back.
And they just never would. They pile on, they get 3 more in the 4th, and it's just basically over at that point. I mean,
yeah, Christian Javier ends up picking up his 9th win, and the Astros bullpen shuts it down like they do, man.
Usually, yeah. I mean, the Astros have been like the prototype for how to build a bullpen, I think.
Yeah, most definitely.
And
kind of how to build a team.
Of course, but specifically, they've been so good because of their bullpen success, and they just have guys that just sit in the two. Like Hector Neris has a 209. Like
He's been good, man. He's been really good.
Brian Abreu's sitting at a 217. Presley's at a 282.
Stud.
I mean, they just the back end of their bullpen, and even like the midsection of it is just so dominant. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is. Game 2 goes all Astros again, man. They end up winning this one 7-3. It's another quality start for Verlander. And
he was awesome.
He was getting lippy, too. We'll talk about that real quick. 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, doesn't give up a run, gives up a walk, and has 9 Ks. Beautiful day for him.
Absolutely. Kyle Tucker homered in the first, his 25th of the year, makes it 2-0 real quick. And that's pretty much all she wrote, essentially, because it would just kind of balloon until it was 7-0 Astros, and then the Red Sox would chip away a little bit later. But
yeah, I mean this is one of those games where we're looking at it like the 6-3 loss that Miami had on Monday.
When you're up 6-0.
It was already 6-0. So I mean they're trying and it looks good on paper, but yeah, it wasn't that good.
You try to chip, but you just it's tough.
Like I said, the Astros end up checking a bat in the middle of that game. Verlander's still on the mound. Alex Cora comes out to kind of chirp. Kind of seems like he's chirping Verlander for some reason. Verlander says, and I quote, "I didn't check that bat, Alex. Fuck off, Alex."
Yeah, and I don't understand why managers do that.
I mean, even if Verlander wanted to check that bat,
that's valid.
The guy's been around for 20 years, bro. Let him check the bat and move on. I mean, if you're not cheating, you have nothing to hide. Check the bat and move on.
Yeah, exactly. Why are you getting mad about it if you're not doing anything sneaky?
It's the best part is it didn't really come across like angry from Verlander. He just literally was like dismissive.
He was literally just over it. Like, get off the field,
literally
bro.
Go away and let me. He was trying to fix his pitch comm at the same time. He was barely paying attention.
And he's having a great start, and this guy's coming out here and messing it up. He just wants to pitch and get out of here.
Clearly, it didn't get to him.
It did not work. I want to set up the next 2 games, obviously, because I think the Red Sox desperately need these next 2.
Oh, they definitely do if they want to have any chance. They're still, I mean, how far out are they?
They're, what are they? They're sitting 5 out of the wild card now.
It's possible. It's not probable. They're kind of in the Padres predicament.
Exactly, and, I don't know.
Don't feel great about it.
There's some tough teams ahead of them.
Yeah. Game 3 is going to be Chris Sale versus Jose Urquidy. Sale is 5-3 on the year with a 4.50, and Urquidy is 2-3 with a 5.21.
Yeah.
So I mean, kind of high ERA guys with 2 pretty potent offenses. I think it's going to be pretty explosive.
Sale needs to really bounce back tonight. He needs to give them a good start.
Yeah, it's tough because it's been a while since Sale has been that guy.
The injuries just
a lot of injuries
snuck up on him and piled up.
I'll always remember him fondly because the guy was so much better than he looks now.
He was so good back in the day, man.
Yeah, AL Central legend.
Yeah, on the White Sox. Game 4 is going to be Brian Bayo, who's 9-7 with a 3.70, taking on absolute stud JP France, 9-4 with a 2.75 on the year.
This is the type of game that excites me, the real pitching matchup. I think if Brian Bayo steps up, which
we've
crazy.
Seen him do.
It's crazy he has to step up to match JP France, who was just an unknown commodity coming into the year.
The Astros again, man. They just know what they're doing.
They got the juice, and they're giving it to JP France, so good for him. You got any predictions on these next 2 games?
I was going to ask, do you think, because I said the Red Sox, they need these next 2 probably. Do you think they'll be able to do it?
I think they could take the next 2? I think they definitely could. I don't know if they take either, man. I mean, it's the Astros.
It's so unpredictable for these 2 games, especially with the pitching matchups, because in the first one, it's kind of 2 guys that could be really nasty or they could be really bad. And
kind of feels like that first game is going to be bat dependent, and the second one's going to be based off the starters.
That's what I'm trying to get at. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if the Astros take both of these next 2 games.
That would be very detrimental to the Boston Red Sox hopes
and the Texas Rangers.
Well, yeah, I mean they got to worry about the Mariners too.
Yeah. That's kind of how I see it going, I'm not going to lie.
I think a team like the Rangers shouldn't even be thinking about the Astros and Mariners. You need to just focus on winning your own baseball game and stop losing.
Definitely. Literally just win as many games.
Break your losing streak.
If you win as many games as you can, and you will make the playoffs. That's just kind of how it works if you focus on nobody else.
The Rangers are 42-24 at home and 30-30 on the road. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But yes, my predictions for this series, to get back to it real quick, I think they'll split these next 2, and we'll see 3 out of 4 for the Astros.
I was going to say, I think we're either getting a split or I think the Stros are running away with all 4 here.
I'm going to be boring, and I'll say they're just going to split them.
I think I will say they'll go all 4.
I think the Red Sox win today behind Sale. Astros win tomorrow behind France.
I think we'll be talking about how dominant of a series this really was for the Astros at the end of this, which will be exciting to keep an eye on.
I could fully see it. I mean, they which is really, it's interesting because they just, if you remember, I mean, they just got swept by the Mariners, and this is how they respond.
Yeah, I mean, they play really well at home, 7 games over 500 at home.
That's got to say something about the Mariners, though.
Oh, it definitely does.
They went into Houston, swept them, and now they're rebounding by beating the shit out of Boston.
Like I've been saying, baseball's a lot about matchups sometimes, and not quite about rosters.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of how Seattle and Houston match up. Seattle's just a better matchup for Houston. So, I mean, Should be super interesting to watch the last two games of the
It's
series.
really interesting to hear you say that, considering they're the team that knocked them out last year.
Nah, yeah, it's not the
So
same.
now-
Then.
I know, but
Yeah.
that's so like a year could make a difference.
Most definitely, yeah.
Legitimately.
And with Seattle having the White Sox and Houston having Boston, man, yeah, they've been making up ground.
Yeah, it's been, and I mean the Rangers just haven't been taking care of business.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, I think they'll split, and I think we'll be talking about it again. Just the Astros just being better than the Red Sox, regardless.
And Texas Rangers bounce back. It's the Twins.
You desperately need to.
Just wanted to say thank you again to everybody who listens and watches us. We're going to be working on getting video to you guys soon in the next week or two. So, I mean,
Yeah.
look forward to that. This has been Wednesday, August 23rd, episode 14 of the 9 Frames podcast. I've been one half of your host, Bill Whalen.
And I've been Mike Whalen.
And like we said in the intro, you can catch us at YouTube at 9 Frames Podcast, Spotify at 9 Frames, X at 9 Frames Pod, and catch us on playergm.com, folks.
Be sure to drop a like, a subscription, a follow. Run up those numbers.
Yeah, likes and subscriptions on YouTube mean a lot. It's all about the algorithm, so do us a favor and give that. Press the little notification bell if you want to know when our new episode goes live. This has been a phenomenal episode, and we look forward to talking to you guys on Friday, talking more ball.
Absolutely.